on May 7th, 2024 to order. If we will stand, we'll do the pledge of allegiance. Ready, begin. To the flag of the United States of America. And to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we'll do a roll call. It looks like we have everyone here. And Brenda Prophet is online. We have a full quorum. We'll go to approval of City Council workshop minutes, April 2nd, 2024.
I move to approve the minutes of April 2, 2024 City Council workshop as presented.
I second.
I got a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? We'll go to the City Council meeting minutes, April 2nd, 2024.
I move to approve the minutes of April 2nd, 2024 City Council regular meeting as presented.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The City County Port meeting minutes, January 10th, 2024.
Move to approve the minutes of January 10th, 2024 City County Port meeting as presented. I second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And the City County Port meeting minutes, April 30th, 2024.
I move to approve the minutes of April 30, 2024 City County Port meeting as presented.
I second that.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, Martha, our financial report.
Okay, so for month ending March, remember, last month we got a preliminary, I don't really have any changes to report. Unless somebody has a question, I do have a lot of detail for your April preliminary.
Well, on the one for March, I see that the building fund took in a lot of money. What? I mean,
We had Amazon put in, permits for 2 buildings for 12 phases each on the same day, all came in March.
okay,
Typically, they do it phase by phase. They bought all 12 phases at once.
well, that's why that's particularly why I noted it, because that was like when you start getting $1 million at one time, you're going, oh, gosh, better pay attention.
And that's mainly why we have a supplemental budget hearing tonight.
Well, that's okay, because didn't we just do one?
Yes,
Okay, so that's my other question. So the supplemental budget we just did, is it included in March? Well, okay, forget, then will it be included in April's?
the one that we just did, yes, so that supplemental budget is in April's.
Okay,
And then the one for tonight will be in May's.
okay, thank you.
So in April, I finished doing our interfund transfers, which I know it's a little hard to follow, but I have them listed there at the bottom of the page, the right-hand side. I do want to point out that of our budgeted transfers, so these were approved in the budget. There are 2 that are not gonna be completed at 100% as we had budgeted. One of them is for the urban renewal, the West Urban renewal, 109,000 will not be transferred back to the city, and the reason being is if you look at the balance, it doesn't have enough to cover that. And then also, if I move it all what it does have, then there's no fund for it to earn interest and help get to a point where it can actually reimburse us back. So I'm leaving that there, and then we'll have some more. I was anticipating having it all paid off, because that's the remaining balance that West Urban Renewal owes the city. But you'll see it again next fiscal year. The other one is the Street Reserve Fund. We didn't move all of it, the reason being it's again in our supplemental budget, kind of reallocating part of it so that we can leave that for the possibility of purchasing land, that opportunity was presented to the city. So those are the two that will not be completed this year, and those are the reasons why. But everything else has been transferred as budgeted. Our interest rates have been slowly going up. There is talk now that interest rates will not come down until after. So for our savings account, that's good news. And for our capital project fund, which is our GEO bond funds, our capital project, we have a balance of $3,157,920 left to pay. And if you look at our fund balance currently, we're about $14,000 short. So hoping that with interest in the remaining months, we can make up that difference and it won't have to come out of a different pot from the city. But we're getting close to the end of this project. You can see it started at 10,700,000 and we're down to just 3 million.
Well, that's pretty good budgeting though. I mean, really, something that you do 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 years ago.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we were just talking about, Mike Lee's, how good he is about telling us numbers and when he's like, oh, I estimate this is what it'll come in at, and how close he is, yeah. So we're excited with that project that, we'll have money to pay all of that. Those are the big things I wanted to point out. Oh, and then also remember that our inner fund transfers, the funds receiving the money, it does reflect in the revenues received column, and the funds that are transferring the money out, it'll show under expenditures. So that's why the general fund shows, 5.5 million under expenditures. Most of that was that transfer to the street reserve fund.
Anybody have any questions?
That 0.10, I know we've talked about this before. Is that ever going to change? Because I noticed one of the accounts,
Has gone
actually
to
2
the
of them are
5.2.
5.2 and the other 3 are 0.10.
Those are the escrow accounts, and that's what they're set at.
Set out, and you can't, okay.
Yeah, and that's why those don't change.
But I think last month, those ones that we were talking about showed. lower,
Yeah, one of
correct?
them has, yep,
Okay,
and then they have come up, so our interest came up, but you can see, most of them are at 5.2%, and the savings one at Banner Bank is actually at 5.51%.
which is still really good.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Any other questions?
Yeah.
April 2024 preliminary.
That was one.
That was what you
Yep.
talked about? Good. All right, so we'll go into our formal proceedings. Our formal proceeding this evening will be the public hearing. Budget 2023-2024 is called to order. Public hearing this evening will be conducted as follows. There will be a staff report, public following order, any testimony in support of the action, any testimony opposing the action, and any neutral testimony. Then we will close the public testimony. After the record is closed for testimony, no other testimony will be heard from anyone unless the city council has a specific question. The city council may ask questions of staff, after which the city council will discuss the matter and make a decision. The city council may make a final decision tonight, or the matter may be continued to a time and date certain in the future. If the matter is continued, this will be the only notice of that time and date you will receive. Testimony, if you wish to speak, please fill out a testimony form and submit it to the city clerk. I will recognize those people wishing to speak. Any questions should be addressed through me. Please state both your name and address for the record when you come to the podium, as the hearing is being recorded. Please keep testimony concise and to the point. testimony should be on the action under consideration. Is there anybody that wishes to have public testimony on this? Staff report. Finance Director Marta Barajas will now present the staff report.
Thank you, for having another supplemental budget hearing, for us this fiscal year. First of all, if you recall, last month, we had, Captain Dieter give you the unfortunate news that vehicles had been struck. Well, unfortunately, it was totaled by insurance. It's no longer in service. We receiving $32,000 from insurance, which is not enough to cover getting a new vehicle. We, are using as much of the equipment that we can from the vehicle that was hit to put into the new vehicle. But there will be equipment that needs to be purchased, so that we have a fully functioning patrol vehicle. So, I need 23,000, to be allowed to be appropriated as additional expenses for materials and services for that, and then, to be able to spend the 32,000, the insurance proceeds, when we receive those. Also from the general fund, talking about the possibility of purchasing land, that opportunity was presented to the city, and so to be able to do that, we are asking for a, transfer of, $610,000. We anticipate the land price is 600,000, but any additional fees that, you know, when you have closing fees or whatever, we want to make sure we have enough to cover for that if, that is something that the council approves as well. In our garbage fund, we anticipate we will need another 80,000, to make sure that we're able to pay our bills for our garbage services through the end of this fiscal year. This, is mainly for our contracted garbage services. And for the building fund, relates back to Councilmember Pettigrew's question on, the big money coming into the building fund. Again, Amazon purchased, all of their phases, 12 phases for 2 buildings all at once. And where we have intergovernmental agreements and Morrow County, if it's a project in their jurisdiction, they get 50% of those permit fees. And then also, I apologize that on your printout that you have for the notices, the last sentence seems to have gotten cut off. Because it stops at "and." So I will read to you what it should be. I'll read the whole paragraph. Building department services, permit fees, and manufactured dwelling placement fees, and the fire safety plan review fees increased due to increased activity in the Morrow County jurisdiction. The increase in revenues has a corresponding disbursement due to Morrow County and to Boardman Fire Rescue District. Appropriations for the fees do needs to be increased to fulfill these financial obligations. Excess revenues will be appropriated to operating contingency. So I am including here what the increases in revenues above what we had originally budgeted. We only need 801,000 to be appropriated as an expenditure to pay out Morrow County and Boardman Fire Rescue District. And the remaining 737,500 will go into our contingency. And that is the entire supplemental budget that I have for you tonight.
All right, did anyone wish to speak in favor of the action? Does anyone wish to speak against the action? Does anyone have any neutral testimony? And since there's nothing there, the city manager will have no rebuttal. The public testimony portion of the hearing is now closed. Is there any discussion by the city council over this supplemental budget hearing?
The only thing I always like to bring up is that this just makes it so that you cannot look at last year's budget and look at those figures, because they will not be accurate, because we will have changed them. So don't forget, when we're dragging out our last year's budget to try to figure out where we're at this year, And these are big enough figures, it will make a difference. So,
All right, so that ends our public hearing. We will go on to our prearranged presentation. Morrow County Schools and Boardman. We'll start with Windy River Elementary. We'll start with Judy and Bella. They'll give their report. And hopefully the microphone will work today. And just, yeah, speak into the mic. Be big, bold, and speak into it.
Good evening. In April, Windy River ASB was productive with the city cleanup, which was very beneficial towards our community. Windy River also successfully completed our OSAS testing with excellent results. City Council held yet another successful assembly filled with exciting mini games and a guest speaker. Windy River recently held our spring concert with all grades involved. It was filled with lots of excitement.
Fourth grade as well put on a night at the museum, which was very successful. We had lots of families show up and had a great time. We are thrilled to continue planning more fun and exciting events for the future.
Thank you for your time and have a great rest of the evening.
Thank you, ladies. So we got a special presentation. I was able to scrounge up somebody who was brave enough. His name's Dylan Beater. He did a presentation at the Wax Museum. And he volunteered to be able to share that presentation that he did at Windy River.
Hello.
Okay.
Hello, my name is Andrew Jackson. I was born on March 15, 1767 in Manchester, London. Yeah. On a war and something interesting about my life is at the age of 11, I was kidnapped by the British and I never weighed over 145 pounds. I died on June 8, 1845 and was buried in Hermitage, Tennessee. Thank you and have a nice day.
Was that scary? No? Good job. So that was your presentation. Did you dress up for that?
Yeah.
Did you dress up at Windy River for that presentation?
Yeah.
So you dressed up for the presentation. What did people have to do to be able to hear your presentation? Did they have to do anything or just walk by you? Did they have to push?
Well, I just had a mic.
You just had a mic, and when they walked in front of you, you just said gave your presentation. Nicely done. So in case you missed it, at Windy River, they did a wax museum where a lot of students, 4th, 5th, and 6th grade, dressed up as characters. I think they were all past. And they could have been historical figures or whatever it may be. And what they did is they memorized their speech, and then people would come around and then they would give that information about who they were. And it turned out to be a really good and exciting event for the kids to do, and they all memorized their speech. So that was really kind of cool, and hopefully next year it'll even be bigger and better and coordinate with the community so that more people will be able to see what the kids were able to do. Nicely done. All right, so we have Sam Boardman. We have some new presenters today for Sam Boardman.
Hello, Mr. Mayor and council members. My name is Hallie Coleman. My name is Montserrat Baligan. My name is Ezekiel Sanchez. We would like to tell you about some things that are happening at Boardman Elementary. First off, we would like to congratulate Mrs. McMasters for getting the Crystal Apple Award. The Crystal Apple Award is an award to recognize public schools who have made a positive impact on the life of their students.
A few third grade students competed in the annual Memorial County Math Contest. SPE received first and second place. First place was Mateo Pacheco, and second place was Hadley Coleman.
On May 2nd, we had our spring carnival that was put on by Riverside High School leadership. We had lots of fun.
We are now starting to do our end of the year testing. Only 21 more days left of the school summer vacation.
This week starts Teacher Appreciation. We have the best teachers in Morrow County. You might know a few of them either from past or present. On May 9th is kindergarten roundup. If you know anyone that will be going to kindergarten next year, let them know to call SB so they can attend our tour of school and get registered.
May 16th is the spring concert for kindergarten and first grade. It starts at 5:30. We hope to see you there.
May 30th, we will have the annual senior walk. Graduating seniors will come to SPE and we will congratulate them as they walk down our hallways.
Thank you. Bye.
Nicely done. I don't think I could do that when I was that age, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, no way. Nope, nicely done. Pretty impressed. Thank you. Our next Prairie Range presentation will be Callie Davis.
Good evening. I have to say that is probably the toughest act that I've ever had to follow, so. Thank you, Brandon, for putting me right after that. But congratulations on both the competition and the wax museum. Sounds like a very exciting end to the school year, so. Really appreciate the opportunity to come and present tonight. Kaylee Davis, I'm with the Amazon Web Services. First of all, before I start into what I'm here to talk about, I just wanted to say thank you again to the City of Boardman, in particular, Boardman Parks and Rec for all of your support with Arbor Day. I know Paul, our community engagement manager, really enjoyed his time here helping plant trees, and it was a great collaborative project. Just wanted to pass along our thanks. And also, I'm very excited to be here. As some of you might have noticed, off of the Bombing Range Road, we have a new, and this campus is actually the first campus that has an exterior paint. And so all new campuses that are built, as you know, just put in building permits for 2 more, will have that new basis of design and exterior design. And as we were discussing that process, we also took the opportunity to go back and with the Olson Road campus that's here in town, look at opportunities to come up with some designs and really bring that back to the city council to get your feedback on what that look, what the look is that you would like for that campus. And so we have 3 different designs that we wanted to share with you this evening. The goal of this is to really have it blend in with the community, similar to what we did out on Bombing Range Road. This look will be a little bit different because we want it to be a good representation of what is the best fit for that location. So the 3 color schemes that we'll be showing are gray and cream, gray and blue, and gray and sage center red. And so there's 3 different concepts here. We'll go through the first one, which is the gray and cream, but really the goal of this presentation is just to get your feedback, so I can take that back to the team. And once we have your feedback on which design that you prefer, we'll start working on painting that campus here in the next couple of months. So if you scroll down to this next one, so this is the aerial view of the campus, and then all of them are going to have the design as well as the view if you were driving down Interstate 84, what that design would look like as you're driving down Interstate 84. So this will be the first one. Scroll down a little bit more. So there we go. So there's the first one. That's the gray and cream. And then you can see with the landscape there to the right-hand side in the top picture. And then the next one looks fairly similar to me, but it's the gray and blue. And then this is the gray, and it's the same color as the Sage Center. There's some other buildings that have that design as well, so. So would love to hear any comments, suggestions that you have, but we're really excited to go back and paint this campus and hopefully have it be a good representation of what is the best fit for this location in Boardman.
I like the red.
That's what I was gonna say. It's the same red as the Sage Center?
It is.
So,
it is.
and I think being that close,
Across the street.
yeah, I'm literally, that's probably a good design for it, or a good color for it.
And the goal was to add in the color, but not have it be too much,
Mhm.
more of an accent color.
I was looking forward to the blue, just because, with the high school, I thought that would end up being a good fit, but I think it's more of a gray blue. I don't know. In person, it would look a little bit brighter, but, it just looks more of like different shades of gray.
Will there be, besides just paint, will there be any foliage that will be added to the design? on campus?
So right now, the plan is to go back and paint the campus. I know the city is still working on some different development in that area. We were kind of holding off on any additional landscaping or anything until there was a final design.
Will these just be the street side buildings towards the freeway, or will these buildings be the opposite side buildings that are next to the actual development?
Great question. Thank you for asking that. It will be all buildings.
So what does the one out on, look like?
Yeah, the campus out on Bonning Range Road, the colors are blades of grass is what we refer to it as, but it's a similar design, but it has more green in it with the landscape out there to try to tie it in. Felt like that might stand out a little bit more if we were to do a similar concept for this facility though.
I think, I mean, I've already said it, I think I'm leaning toward the red just because it is right across the street from the Sage Center, and if it would match. I think that's a good thing.
I like it that way just because it's in the city too. And it adds, I think it could add some color and some character to what we have. Whereas the campus out on Bobbing Range, it's all by itself. And maybe it needs to have that color to make it all by itself. Doesn't need to bring that attraction to it.
I would agree with the red. I like it.
Okay, any other comments? Really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for taking the moment this evening.
Thank you. All right, our next prearranged presentation will be Barnett and Morrow, 2022-23 audit presentation. Rick Stoddard. I'm Rick Stoddard.
We performed the audit. We began about September. And we finished up late March, by the time we got all done, we performed a great deal of testing, a lot of testing of disbursements that the city makes, as well as balances of debt, cash, and a lot of consideration of revenues. As Councilor Pettigrew mentioned, we do a lot of comparison from year to year, and I'm guessing March's events will probably draw some attention the next time around. In our report, it's on page 24 of the agenda packet. In the second paragraph, we know that our opinion, the financial statements referring to respective modified cash basis financial position of the governmental activities, the business activities, in each major fund, and the aggregate refund donation to the city of Boardman, Oregon, as of June the 30th of 2023. Essentially, what that means is that the financial statements are, we deem them to be presented. We consider that what we colloquially refer to as a clean report. It's, the financial statements are presented unmodified. We note that on page, it's on page 50 of your agenda packet, that there was a very small expenditure of the budget in the garbage fund. And we mentioned that in page 92 of the agenda packet. We talk about compliance relative to many state laws. And realistically, that $257 budget or expenditure is really the non-compliance that we detected. And on page 93.
Would you read that?
Oh, sorry. And on page 93 of the agenda packet, we note, just before the restriction fund use heading, given the limitations during the audit, we did not identify any deficiencies in internal control that we consider to be material issues. With that, it's available for any questions that the council may have.
I was discussing the page number.
You may have any questions?
Now, what is the difference when, you give no opinion? So what would I have? What would the audit be that I would ask you to do that you give an opinion?
I'm not sure I understand the,
Well, I guess sometimes I've seen budgets, not necessarily the cities, that say, it all looks fine, except you're not keeping track of your petty cash.
okay.
And those kind of things, and I've seen nothing in here like it, everything seemed like it was going swell, you didn't. So are you you're doing the budget, that you need to do, our audit?
I'll try to answer that question in a couple of different pieces. I think the first piece of it is when you say what is it called when we give an opinion that says everything is fine, but, and that's what we refer to as a modified opinion. This is what we refer to as an unmodified opinion. Are we doing adequate testing? Is that the question? Well, we looked at the budget somewhat extensively. I mean, we have good representation of what it was when it was first adopted. We looked at the modifications that occurred during the year. And we know both what it was when, throughout the report, we know both what it was when it was adopted. And after all the modifications were made, we looked at what happened, made a few interesting journal entries along the way, but we looked at what the actual results were. We compared the two. So I think budgetarily, I think we've done all of the testing that's commonly done in our bit.
I just want to make sure that we're great. That we keep everything in line and we're doing things correctly, so.
I've been really happy with my relationship with the city for the past couple of years and feel very comfortable with things.
Good. We're happy with you, by the way.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to serve the city.
April 2024 preliminary section. Sorry. I hit the button that I wasn't supposed to hit during 20. I didn't know I did that.
Anybody else have any questions? All right, thank you very much.
Appreciate the opportunity to serve the city. Thank you.
You bet. All right, we have an action item, ordinance 4-2024. The development agreement with Perry and Carol Mon and Mon LLC.
Mr. Mayor, there's one more, there's two
That's
more.
not what I see on here.
Yeah, see?
Oh, did I skip? I skipped. I'm sorry, sanitary disposal. You're so sorry.
You're fine, Stephen.
I went from D to D.
I don't feel like I'm gonna get an applause after this.
I am so sorry.
No, don't apologize, because now I have to bring bad news. So. Sanitary disposal is not immune to the cost pressures and supply chain issues that has affected most of the businesses and consumers over the past few years. City of Boardman last awarded sanitary disposal blended increase of 16.75% effective July 1st of 2023. With that increase in July, the resulting revenue was intended to cover a small portion of the increased cost of operations that we've been absorbing for some time. While we acknowledge that this is a large increase, it is a result of discounted rates that have been in place for some time. And they're simply not sustainable given the continuing increased costs of services, including capital costs, fuel, labor, health insurance, and coverage for employees. After a thorough review of our financial performance and comparison to comparable rates in the surrounding areas, the requested price will allow us to continue to invest in the future and serve the residents of Boardman in a safe and responsible manner. In addition, we would propose linking future rates adjustments to the CPI W index to keep adjustments at a small and manageable cost. So I know that, the percentage is high. With Sanitary Inc. Before we took them over, when they would come in for CPIs, they'd wait 2 or 3 years and then they wouldn't go back, say 2019 was the last one before Waste Connections took over. So between 2019 and 2022, when we did ours, there was nothing to play catch up. And so this increase will get us where we need to be, and then we can base it off the smaller CPIs, so they're a lot more manageable. We know it's a large increase also. That's why we've done an option A, B, and C, which would allow, the council to pick the direction they would want to go.
A, B, and C.
Is there something in our packet? No, I think you were providing it, correct? There you are.
You're so-
Right.
You know, copies available.
I
for
don't,
everybody?
I'm sorry.
You want some copies? So that everybody can at least.
Would everybody like to talk?
Yes, but.
So this rate increase is gonna start July 1st, 2024.
If approved, yes.
And what, well, we kind of, we either approve it or we don't have trash, correct?
Yeah.
Or not enough trash service.
So since we're waiting, I know that sometimes you have trouble getting the carts, not carts, but what do you call those big things that you throw trash?
Roll off boxes.
Yeah, boxes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so are you getting more of those?
Yeah, we actually, so since we've taken over, we've had over 75 that I purchased. We have another 48 that are coming, and 3 of them got here today. So we have a lot more coming.
So you're catching up.
Yes.
The amount of garbage we're producing,
Yes.
and so we're not calling all the time saying, I need more
Yeah,
boxes.
yes, sorry for interrupting, but our end game is to make sure we can almost do same day service. That's what we want.
And so to be able to have the drivers and trucks and the equipment to do it, that is our goal. We've, with some of the rates throughout, you know, both counties and all 7 cities that we service, the rental fee on some of the drop boxes is really low. So people are like, oh, okay, we'll just hang on to it at $7. But, you know, the issue for us is now we have equipment sitting at a site that we're not able to use because nobody's being charged enough for the merge or rental fee.
So what is the current rate now? What do we pay the average citizen in Boardman? What is it, $13?
It's 28 something, isn't it?
Well, it depends on what size container you have.
Most of the people have 90 gallon.
So 90 gallon is what?
It's 28 something, isn't it?
No, I don't think.
One was 13 something,
Huh?
gonna go jump to 18.
Right, I had like, it was gonna go from 13 to 18, like have a $5.
So the 13 is what sanitation charges the city. The city then has an additional 13% on top of that. So when we're talking about it's going from 13 to 18, that's sanitation is saying, hey, we charge you 13, it's not gonna be 18.
The
$13.
citizen's gonna be charged. Or I guess I don't get who's being charged 18.
So the 18 is what the city is charged. The city then charges an additional 13% to cover for costs of, you know, staffing and that.
So I guess what I'm getting at is the average citizen's gonna pay, we're gonna see how much in their garbage bill go up.
Mr. Mayor, not to interrupt, would you mind passing the rest of those down?
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, I don't need to hold them all.
well, it looks like Tony is on there and she's voted down 1484. So she answered her question for us.
Yeah, well, and not only that, his example here is for a 35 gallon. And we don't allow anyone to have 35 gallon. It's all 90. Here, isn't that right, Tony? Yeah, there are a few people, that she said, but it was mainly 90. Well, it's really, you've got to be special to get 35. Do you have the form that shows the comparison of the other cities?
Yes.
In our,
Can you make that?
sorry.
I seriously thought I forwarded.
No, that should be good.
I think so.
So Kevin, while you're making a copy, can you just talk to the council about that, the rate difference, the reason why there's a rate difference?
So with the city of Boardman, you're fortunate from your location to Finley Butte, because you don't have to pay the gate rate of 71.20 out of Umatilla County, because we're able to take all of your trash straight to Finley Butte. So you pay a lower price per ton. Also, it's a guaranteed payment here. So we don't take any of the risk of past due accounts or delinquent accounts. So that also is a reason why we can have lower payment per month also.
And that's unique to Boardman.
Yes, yeah. And it's a common thing for any city that is within the boundaries of a landfill. So it is a big benefit. And you can see once she gets the rest of the price comparisons, you know, kind of where you land with, you know, I think I did everything from Wasco, Pendleton, West Richland, just so you can see kind of where the rates are. And it's not, and I'm not like, oh my gosh, you know, Pendleton pays this much, so you have to. I just want you to know kind of what the prices are just for garbage service.
So the percentage rates that you got for 35 gallons, is that gonna be the same percentage rate increase for a 90 gallon?
Yeah.
On this form, it shows the 90 gallon.
And then I guess my next question is, whether it matters or not, does all your customers get the same percentage increase?
Yes.
So do you want to share with the council who you presented so far?
So, Hermiston, I presented to them, they accepted the 37.5%. Morrow County was the same, they accepted the 37.5%. City of Umatilla went with a 3-year version of what you have there. And then I'm still working with, Umatilla County, Stanfield and Echo, so. It's been really challenging. I mean, the ask, what we're asking for is just, it's a lot. And we understand that, but we also know this is it. So moving forward, we can base it off the CPI, so it's not like the sticker shock every time,
When you say CPI, what do you mean CPI?
Consumer price index, so how much it averages, well, it's averaged about 3.5% to 4%. So, but that's,
So on this total increase, you're saying you want to increase the rate by $4.96 per citizen, is that, or per account, I guess?
yeah, it depends on what size.
Okay, I'm looking at the 90 because
Okay, yeah.
I think that's probably the
Yeah.
most common one. So I guess that's probably what Mayor Kiefer's wanting to know is just what is gonna be the price increase if we accept this?
Be like a $5.
$5 is what everybody will see as an increase.
Or, yeah, but we still have to add what the 13% on top of that.
So we're gonna add 13 on top of that.
So it'd be like $6,
Okay,
maybe. Okay, so it'll be under $6. Cause it's 13% of the 496 or 13% of your overall total.
It's a blended rate.
13%. So.
And trust me, I do not want to be up here next year doing this again. I just want to say 3%, just. So this is super difficult for me. I understand the challenges, especially with the smaller communities, and that was one of the reasons we kind of prepared the A, B, and C option to kind of help, lessen the blow if that was the way that the council wanted to go.
so, who's responsible for the cans that need to be replaced?
We are.
So how
If
does that
they're-
happen? What do we do? Just
Just
Call the city.
Yep,
Call the city.
yep.
Oh, call the city?
Yeah, you speak with Tony.
And she takes care of that.
Yep, broken cards, broken lids, no wheels, just give them a call, we'll get somebody out to replace it. And if it is one of those scenarios where the driver dumps it and it falls in the truck, we do our best to replace it that day. So somebody still has a container to put.
I'm pretty
trash in.
sure my garbage can's 25 years old.
That's the way we like it.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's barely holding on, but you got the bang for the buck. Well, the guy before, you bought it up from there, yeah.
Okay, so that I understand, you said 37.5% increase, is that, so that's Boardman's increase, and that's what made it come to the $4.96 for the 90,
Yeah, on our end,
right,
yes.
okay. So you're right, that's a pretty hefty increase.
But you're also saying that this will not happen again.
Yeah, I'm giving you my commitment. I will not be up here again asking for something like this. It's all gonna be based off CPI. Just to kind of give you an idea, our UTC piece, which is Plymouth, our Washington piece, sanitary disposal didn't go in for a rate increase for the UTC since 2008. So we just got approved with the UTC for the commercial customers to go up 105% and the residential customers to go up 95%. It's so, I'm really have my back against the wall when it comes to the years of how sanitary disposal came in for rate increases. And it's really difficult. I mean, it's difficult for me to stand up here and ask for this. I don't want to. I just want to be the hero. I want the trash to disappear and everybody smile when they get home.
And so you're saying right now you're playing catch up. I
Yeah.
guess is what I get from that
Yes,
2008
yeah.
statement is like they were so far behind that now you're the bad guy because you gotta come in and you're 105% or whatever, and everybody's gonna get sticker shock on that, but
Yeah.
I get you.
And I just want to rip the Band-Aid off.
Mr. Hammond, the city picks up with a portion to help keep the garbage costs down for our citizens, is that correct?
No.
No,
So
they charge.
we already get a discounted rate from sanitary because we have Finley Fields here.
So I guess what's the 13%? That's
So
it.
we handle, so Tony, and she's our utility clerk, so we pay her to take all the phone calls when people come with garbage cans that are broken, need replacement. For the drop boxes when they need to be emptied. She handles all of the billing, so we have to pay for the postage to send out all the billing, which I'm gonna, encourage everybody to go with online billing and pay automatically so we can save on postage. And the amount of time that Tony has to spend on producing the bills, getting them out in the mail. We have to run them over to the post office and then we pay, you know, credit card fees when people are paying their bills. So it's to capture those expenses that the city has that deal directly with garbage.
Okay, that's what that cost is for.
Yes.
Okay, so Mr. Hammond, would you explain, about, where we looked, where I had you go and look to the other areas about potential being able to, other options of garbage?
So, just clarify.
So we had a little conversation that was like, okay, so if we didn't go with sanitary disposal, and we went with, what were our options, and you kind of did a little bit of research on that, would you mind sharing that for me?
Yeah. So the one local is Waste Management. They don't necessarily have they have a landfill in Arlington, so I did check with them. And as of right now, there is no feasibility way of the rate of that $18 they could match. They don't have the trucks, they don't have the infrastructure as of yet. So it really is, and again, if Mr. Miracle, like in his very first statement, he explained, like the previous ownership did a lot of supplementing of the budget to keep it down, and that was done through other businesses that the entity owned, and that is not the case to be done now. However, you look at our rate, I mean, the 18, there's nowhere even. The closest one to us is 25 in Umatilla. Everyone else is like 30s or,
40s.
Yeah, so I mean, it really is a huge benefit of having the landfill where it is and how it does affect what we do pay.
So did we decide what the bill is right now? What's our garbage bill?
I
right
think it's
now?
14.
1484 is what Tony said.
And so, next year or the year after, we're going to have to start.
I was hoping you weren't gonna bring this up.
Oh, well. So when do I get my blue container?
So Brandon and I were talking about this, because I know everybody, you doing your fiscal budget, I don't see anything increasing on the bill until probably July of 25. And even then, we're, between DEQ and all the cities and counties and all the haulers, it's a moving target right now. I've been on probably 4 or 5 calls with DEQ and I'm still confused. But we are moving forward.
You're talking about the recycle bin.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Okay,
and they-
just so that we're clear.
Yeah, and so the pros, which are the producers who bring, products into the state of Oregon, they're slowly reaching out to some of the cities and some of the haulers and actually starting the conversation of, what's needed for trucks, what's needed for carts, because there will be an upfront, fee for trucks and carts, which will be nice implementing this, that, we don't have to pay and the cities don't either, so. But there will be a price increase on that. I don't know what it is, but I do know it's driver wage and maintenance is gonna be the thing.
So we as a city don't have a say to say, I don't want blue, I gotta pay that money and give it to whom? Who's that
So,
money go to? Because you take it, and then the recycle goes where, and who gets the revenue for the recycle?
so there's not much revenue in recycle right now.
Okay.
So I think really the only two things that we really get, some money on is cardboard. And even that, after you process it, it's almost a wash. And then tin and aluminum, which, we don't fill those up very much. So I don't know the answer to that, but the infrastructure that they want to put in place is that the pros will be in charge of that. So I take the truck, pick up the blue cart, make everybody smile, we're recycling. I take it to a facility, I dump it for free, and then they deal with it from there.
So basically, I get a fee for a blue cart and I can give more garbage.
Give more garbage.
I can give more garbage, I can recycle, so I can keep it out of my green one and put it in my blue one, and I can get more garbage in my green one.
Yes, or you can downsize.
My
When
understanding
you say,
too,
oh, yeah,
No, I mean, no, she's.
as far as the,
my understanding too, with the tin and aluminum, that's a commodity and I think it's controlled by, the price fluctuates all the time.
Everything fluctuates. It is a
It
moving
could be like
target.
every
Yeah.
week, it's a different price.
I could go down
I
a
have
rabbit
no idea
hole
how
on
to
that.
get my wife to recycle. And I do, and she's on there, so. I have no idea.
And the size of the city is what it's 4,000 and above.
Yeah,
correct?
$4,000. Yeah, so this will
So
impact.
we're about 3,900, right?
I don't think his math is right.
No, I don't think it's right either.
Yeah, and so Hermiston, City, Umatilla, and Boardman are gonna be the three main ones. And City of Hermiston is the largest city in the state of Oregon that does not have curbside recycling. This will be a very, very interesting process.
So for each, so just for mine, so each entity, so like Morrow County, you had to do a presentation to Morrow County, you had to do it to all the cities around, or we'll do it to. It's not one entity that makes everybody increase their pay, is that correct, their fee?
It's all encompassing.
Okay.
And don't make me go back to Echo.
Because each city and each entity can choose whether or not they want to go with you.
Yes, yep. And I think most of the franchise agreements are 5 years, so if you decide that you want to put it out for bid, you send a letter, to me, and then it starts the clock January 1, and then after 5 years, then you can put it out to bid.
So what's our decision tonight? Just
So
to,
we need to make probably a motion, correct? Is it a motion?
To accept the rate increase, is that what you're saying?
You can,
I say we do a motion to, just so that, to me, it makes it easier, so. So, we'll take a motion.
can we ask Tony?
Do you have a question for Tony?
Yes, I want to know if she adds $650 onto our utility bill, what will the new bill be? It's 56 something.
All right, Tony, did you catch that?
no, but I think I can answer that one for you, Karen. So the cost to the city will be $18.18, which to the consumer will be $20.54 after the 13%. That's an increase of $5.70 on their bill.
But I can't remember what my water and sewer are.
Oh, you
So
want your
what I'm
total?
trying to figure out is what my water, sewer and garbage will be, because I used to be able to say, your water, sewer and garbage is $56 and something in Boardman.
Oh, it's
71.
59.
It depends on the day.
Oh,
It's
the
about,
year?
that's about 63.
Because how much water you use?
There it is. 2888 sewer and 1733 water.
So that's the base rate.
Yes.
Okay,
All right, so I'll entertain a motion.
I can make a motion to increase, our garbage rate by the 37.5%. Is that the request?
What it ends up equaling,
Yeah.
which is 575, right? Number you came up with.
575.
What?
Well, isn't this a 3-year proposal?
Well, there's three options. There's year one, like today it'd be 37.5%. Then option B, I believe, it splits it with CPI, and then option C does it over 3 years.
Okay,
So either way, any of those options we're fine with.
so if I'm gonna raise, is this just on the 90? No,
This is
for everything.
Everything.
Which was mostly.
So
that.
then you better say 37.5%. You can't say.
Correct.
Right, we're gonna have to do the 37.5% with the 100% CPI. If that's the avenue to go,
Yeah. Well,
if we're gonna go with that option A. Because your option B is a 20% in 24.
And then a
then another
21% the
20.
next year.
And then 2025 would be 100%
So-
CPI thereafter.
So one of them goes up to, it ends up being a 40 with the two or something.
So the first one is basically, we deal with the sticker shock right away.
Yeah.
Whereas the other two, it's a gradual for 2 years and then a low one, and then the third one's a gradual increase every year until we get up to that third year.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like in today's age, maybe that would be the best option, just because, I mean, everybody's dealing with sticker shock right now. I don't think we need to add to that. I think the 12.5 and then 16.5 and 16.5 or the 20 and 21 would be a better option. That is my opinion.
So the days of yearly garbage rate have just hit Boardman.
So that's.
okay, let's think about this just a minute, though. 2025 is, 2025 isn't very far off, and we are assuming that we're gonna have to have an increase there. So,
Correct.
you know, you've gotta decide whether you want everybody to have their full increase now. And try to explain to them that in a couple more years, when we start doing curbside recycling, then there'll be an increase, or you can, your increase on like option C is gonna be higher than you think it's gonna be. Am I right?
Yes, yeah. Yeah, if you rip the Band-Aid off now, it's cheaper in the long run, but it stings now.
Yes.
But yes, you're correct.
Out of curiosity, what makes it cheaper in the long run?
It's just you're basing it off a lower price right now versus what it goes up to next year and CPI.
Like at 20, if you look at 2026, option one is we're paying 1430, 2 is 1458, and 3 is 1468.
And that's also guesstimating that CPI is gonna be at, I believe,
Correct.
4.5%.
And there is the possibility
Is that
of
a 35 gallon one though?
if we did that
Yeah.
37, that we allow MARTA to look at what we can do as a city
To maybe help
to
offset.
adjust with that 13%, you know, where can we line in that? So,
We were actually talking to 18.
but that would,
Yeah, talking 2050.
give her some time.
What are you saying?
So I'm saying right now, and 13%. So we charge an additional 13% on what we're charged. The city could look and say, okay, can we adjust that 13% and maybe not do the full 13% and allow, again, the gradual increase, but still do the 37.5. So adjust what we pay within the city.
I don't think that's a good idea.
So just saying
It's an option.
what's not a good idea on that?
I have a quick question. Is it still public comment?
Unfortunately not.
What's not a good idea on it?
What he's saying is, we've always charged, whatever sanitary disposal has charged us, we've always increased that fee by 13%. And like we said, that covers Tony's wage and, you know, the phone and blah, blah, blah. 13%.
From this, 13% is $2.56 or something.
Right. And I guess I'm one voice, so you know, you can decide if you want to lower our percentage that we made off of this to make it easier for the customer, or you can do one of the ABCs.
I think personally, for me, at the end of the day, the city's not in it to make profit off there, right? It's for her
wages. If they looked at it and go, you know what, this, if we dropped it to 10%, right? But it still covers your wages, we're not gaining extra money after it. I don't see why we wouldn't give that 3% back to the city.
That's what you're saying, right?
It doesn't hurt to look at.
Well, you were already talking about if we cut our costs on if everybody went online, which that's not gonna happen, but a majority of people went online, you would cut a lot of costs just on time. The effort to put all those mailers together, you know.
And I also wanna add that off of that 13% is what pays for the garbage vouchers that we offer. So if you cut into your 13%, we'd have to cut down on the offering of garbage vouchers,
Which was increased.
which
Just
just increased
Right.
the opportunity to,
We could just go back down.
right. Okay.
And I'm not willing to get rid of the garbage vouchers, that's pretty good.
No, I think that's really great.
Mr. Mayor.
Who's talking?
Brenda.
Yes, Brenda.
I don't know. I think that what's gonna happen when it becomes a recycling and a garbage disposal, that the city is going to double what they currently do. And then going back out in 2 years and saying, well, we lowered it for this. And then we raised it for that. It's just too wishy-washy for me. I think we just leave it alone. Besides, Martha might find that we're spending more than 13%. If she digs into it. But I don't really see that. I know that it feels like a lot because we're paying $14.84 and it's gonna jump up to $20 and some change. But that's in today's market, that is not a huge increase in your overall monthly budget, a $5 increase. And I feel like the sticker shock might be a little hard for some, but let's just get the Band-Aid off because it's not gonna get any better. That's my opinion.
I would like to say just, I think I'd like to continue to have that discussion and table it, because I don't think it needs to be a decision that's made tonight. I think the decision that we need to make is whether we're going to approve the new rate.
Agreed. And what we want, which option we want.
That's what we need to vote on tonight.
Right, because we can always talk about the other aspect another time.
Okay.
Correct?
Yes.
No, I was talking to the
He's talking to me with my mouth open.
fellow.
Well, then it doesn't seem like the motion can be 37.5% or whatever, and it won't make any difference. Then we can later decide how we're gonna implement that 37%, whether we're gonna do it A, B, C, or whether we're gonna do it all A.
Is that a question for you? Do you want a choice A, B, and C, or just a 37% and then we make a decision on?
I'm fine with any of those, we're totally fine with, whichever direction that everybody decides.
Oh, I thought I was gonna have to pay him the 37.5, no matter what I decided to charge the customers. Because he truly doesn't care what I charge the customer. I mean, we're hiring.
Because he's getting 37%.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna decide how we wanna do it, whether we do gradual or all in one.
Right. And how we wanna work this out with our own income.
Correct. And again, it doesn't go into effect until July 1st.
Right, so we've got another.
Correct.
Budget.
Well, I'm not too fond of the $5 increase. But it's just saying that everything's going up, it's not good enough, but it's kind of like you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Sorry, but, you know, $5 is $5. And, it is a lot for some people. And so I think we need to agree to the 37%. I think we need to agree to redoing or renewing his contract.
And you know, I can muddy this water really bad. And say, because pretty much, you have to have a really good excuse to get a 35-gallon garbage can here in Boardman. It's all not, I mean, it's just 90-gallon cart, period. So I'm thinking like, you know, like the elderly people, they don't need a 90-gallon cart probably. Most
So
of
you
the
should have
time.
an option for a smaller one.
So if you wanted to, if we wanted to really sit around here and think about garbage rates, you could throw that in the mix.
Something, I didn't mean to interrupt, but something else that we can do too, is that if that's, because normally that's not a big needle mover, but we can offer the 35 at like an every other week service also. Because if you're just living by yourself, you're not gonna produce that much trash, so we do have the option of adding that separate price into one of the line items in order to help, you know, people who are living alone. If that's something that you guys are interested in.
Well, I think, we should approve that we continue service. And then if it's the council wants to talk about how we want to fund that or do it, charge our customers, our citizens, I think that should be another day. What I'm thinking.
I agree with that.
So I'm thinking maybe we should have a motion to, continue our contract with sanitary disposal.
I'll make a move to approve the 37.5 increase, with sanitary disposal.
A second that motion.
Okay, I had a motion and a second. I think we had a whole lot of discussion about that. Is there anything else that anybody would like to say other than Karen? No. No. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thanks, sir.
We can paint our trucks red too, if that helps.
Just keep the transmission, we're so happy that you've got better trucks.
Yes.
So hydraulic oil is.
We have 5 more trucks that are supposed to land this year. We ordered 2 last year and everything continues to get pushed out. So you will see a cleaner fleet. So
No.
thank you.
You better thank you for being patient with me and getting you in the wrong order for your
No, it's
presentation.
all good. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
Good night.
Oh, I got
Can't wait to tell me.
All right, we have an action item, and that is the correct one right now. Ordinance 4-2024, the development agreement with Gary and Carol Long.
Okay, Carla. There you are.
I think this is me, right?
It is.
Okay, can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
So what's before you tonight is an ordinance to approve the attached development agreement. It's with Gary and Carol Mon and Mon et al. It is related to the infrastructure development as part of the Chaparral subdivision. So as we've been working through the land sale and the donation of the Mons to the city of Boardman for property both east and west side of Main Street there under the BPA lines with some additional properties attached as well. The donation is for about the total value of the land being provided to the city of Boardman, a price at 1.3 million. We are providing $600,000 to the Mons as part of that. So they are donating about $800,000 worth of value to the city. The $600,000 is identified to be invested into the Chaparral subdivision as infrastructure. And this conversations with the Mons has gone through several reiterations. It was finally determined that they could do more with $600,000 than we could. Initially, they had wanted us to do the infrastructure, and when we got to $600,000, we would stop, and we want to make sure that they invest everything. And their $600,000 is going to go further than ours based on how we're restrained and constrained to spend it. So the development agreement is the secondary agreement after the donation and the sale agreements that says Gary, Carol, Mon et al. That $600,000 needs to be invested into the Chaparral subdivision. The interesting thing about development agreements is that they are under the law a land use decision, and they do require city council action. And so they have to be approved or adopted through ordinance. So what you see in front of you is the ordinance. It's kind of short and sweet. The development agreement, many of the provisions in the development agreement have already been met because they've come back in, they've applied for the land use approvals. Those were reissued again just in the last couple of months. So they have a 3-year timeline within which to complete the infrastructure for Chaparral and get the final plat signed. I probably told you way more than you want to know. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
I think we've been talking about this for a little bit. Any questions?
Just, my only question there is just to reiterate, she said there's 3 years to get this done.
Yep.
And then to get the answer. Okay.
Yep.
I just verified that.
They can request an extension to the subdivision. So I think it's a total of 5 years they would have to get it accomplished. We did put that timeline in the development agreement. And of course, Mr. Salata, you asked the one question that term. It's a second page, or no, first page of the development agreement under term. The term of this agreement shall be effective upon adoption of the city. The term of the agreement shall commence on the effective date and shall continue for a period of 4 years unless terminated sooner in accordance with the provisions contained therein. So it's a 2-year, and then there's some extensions they can get through the planning process. But 4 years total.
Any other questions for Carla? I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve the reading by title only of ordinance number 3-2024, an ordinance to approve a development agreement with Gary and Carol Mon and Mon et al. Related to infrastructure development as part of the Chaparral subdivision.
The second bit.
If we could, have the correction of, 3 to 4, and it should be ordinance number 4.
Second that with James.
Okay, so I have a motion and a second. Is there any additional discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right.
Yep.
We'll go to action item resolution 10-2024, 2023-2024 supplemental budget appropriation.
Mayor Keeper, we just have 2 more steps. I just need to read it by title only and then the adoption.
Okay, then we need to do that. I guess I missed that.
So ordinance number 4-2024, an ordinance to approve a development agreement with Gary and Carol Mon and Mon et al. Related to infrastructure development as part of the Chaparral subdivision.
Okay, then we need to adopt that.
Correct.
Okay,
I move to adopt ordinance number 4-2024, an ordinance to approve a development agreement with Gary and Carol Mon and Mon et al. Related to infrastructure development as part of the Chaparral subdivision.
I'll second that.
okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so we'll go to the next one.
Thank you.
Which is, you got the resolution, the supplemental budget appropriation. Anybody have a motion?
I move to approve resolution 10-2024, a resolution to adopt a supplemental budget for the fiscal year 2023-2024.
I second that.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Is there any question? Or discussion, I should say? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, we need to move on to the city of Boardman new logo decision. I'll be right back.
Good, we good? Is that me?
Yep.
Okay, if you go to your other business section. And I would like to propose, so here are several brands. The first two, 1B, 1A, very similar. It's more of the wording that's different. City of Boardman. Though that wording is different, the picture is the same. And then the last third one is just a different logo. So we have been talking about this for some time. From discussions, it really seemed that that logo has been a consensus favorite. So with that, I took that and then there's different options you can do. You can do it in a circle. You don't have to do it in a circle. Again, just different options. The third one is one that was created a little bit ago and it is currently on the website. But so any kind of discussion, I would love to hear it. Love to hear.
We need to make a decision.
I would love to hear a decision.
All right, what's the flavor?
I like the first one.
The first one right here, agreed. This one.
Is 1B?
1B.
1B is the first one. Oh, okay. So you need a motion to adopt this, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, we do that.
Okay. I move that we adopt. Is it the mini brand? Concept 1B?
I second that.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion over this?
I really don't like the other one. I just want to say that, but that last one, no.
Yeah, no discussion, nothing.
I'll get.
Hey, 1B.
All right. We haven't voted.
Oh.
You're out of order. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, any opposed? Hey, there's your directions. There it is, there.
Thank you. That's fantastic.
So does that mean we're not gonna have a circle, we're just gonna have a long thing?
We have a general thing. I'll throw out some circles, but we have a general concept, give you some ideas. The idea mainly is for the simplicity, maybe of the shirts. We've talked about simplicity on the back here. Again, just the wording, not necessarily the whole logo.
And I think Karen, so you have 1B on the front and then 1B on the back is the brand kit. It's the different ways that you can.
So it's all.
I know, so what did we decide?
1B.
1B, and then depending on what you put it on, you can.
Use it.
use that.
Correct. Yep. Thank you.
Okay, Boardman Food Pantry, community garden water donation.
Okay, so, the city has had a community garden for quite some time. It has been ran amazingly by a staff member who was decided to step away. He offered this, I believe, multiple times and no one accepted it. So we've moved on from that. I've reached out to the food pantry community garden, and we've had discussions with them. Through these discussions, the thought came up that it really is a beneficial component to the city. I even think there's discussion of having an area where people could garden in there. Was that discussed? Talked about? So having said that, it just came about like, hey, why don't we donate the water to it? And then we looked at the price tag. It's about $1,000 a year, give or take. I even think that $1,000 was when there was a leak for part of the time. Is that?
We overwatered.
Yeah.
The first month, we didn't realize we were running the water as much as we did.
Yeah. So again, I'm proposing that we donate to the food pantry, yearly. And again, it's around 1,000 or so.
I have a question. On the community garden that we had on the other side of town, didn't the city pay for that water?
I would assume so,
No, that was city property, so we don't charge ourselves water.
but same.
But same concept is
Yeah.
what I'm saying.
Come on. Yeah, it's not the food pantry that's actually doing the garden. It's First Baptist and the Hispanic Church. We do that for the pantry. It's all designed for them, but it's not actually an official food pantry item. Now, we're talking with the pantry, and I'm on the board of the pantry to contribute more to some of the costs. But at this point, when we did this last year, it was strictly our church that ran the garden. So we're not actually giving them, you're not doing this for the pantry, you're doing this for us as a church that we were paying for the water. Does that
And
make
it's
sense?
all, yeah, and I guess maybe I misunderstood a little bit, but all of it goes to the food?
Everything that we grew went to the pantry. The
Okay.
whole purpose of the garden is.
Okay, that's okay. And that's what, okay.
So,
that
so
was-
do you anticipate this will increase the amount by doing this, increase the amount that we can, that you can
That
get?
we will produce.
Yeah.
Well, we've already expanded the garden.
Mhm.
And so what we planned on to make it, some of it for the community, was to take the west end, which would actually be a larger section than what you had down here.
Mhm.
So basically, if you just go over there, you can see that it's already now stretched all the way across.
Mhm.
And so we will be producing more. And then, of course, whatever people do in their own areas is up to them.
Yeah.
But yeah, we will be producing more. And then next year, we plan on actually leveling that last rise that's up against the dental
Mhm.
office.
Mhm.
And so the whole area could be used. That's our goal.
Nice. I like that.
Cool, and again, 100% to the community.
Absolutely.
Cool. Okay. That's what I understood.
I think that's good, it's a good thing. Especially if they're willing to let them have it, or be able to participate, be able to grow their stuff.
Oh, so it would be just a motion, is like again, a simple motion if you agree.
I move to donate, to have the city donate the water to the First Baptist Church so that they could continue to grow for vegetables, fruits, vegetables for the food pantry.
I second that.
A motion, a second, any other discussion?
Only thing I asked is, I imagine it is, but it's on its own monitoring system for water, correct? Not on the city or not on the church's water.
It's a separate account, yes.
Okay, that's it.
Yeah.
Perfect.
No, we would like you to pay for our own.
Making sure it wasn't like all thrown together. Just clearing the air, making sure.
Good question.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Thank you.
Good. We're in the public comment section. This is the invitation for public comment. Interested audience members are invited to provide comments. Anyone may speak on a topic other than a matter of litigation, quasi judicial, land use matter, or a matter scheduled for a public hearing at some future date. The mayor may limit comments to 3 minutes per person for a total of 30 minutes. Please complete a request to speak card prior to the meeting. Speakers may not yield their time to others. All right, so Mr. Fuss had given, I will take that little invitation to speak as your speak card. So, Mr. Fuss, the time is yours.
Cool. So I came to talk to you tonight to hope you reconsider the shipping containers as building materials conversation. For two reasons. One, because it was an option that Mr. Wildfire gave in March to combat or to help fix the missing middle income housing issue that we have here in Boardman that I thought he did a great presentation on, and that you all at the time agreed to continue working with him on and listen to all his options. And I don't know if you've done that yet, so I can only assume based on April's meeting that you haven't. And so by saying no to this business that wanted to use a shipping container as a building, you have already shot one of Mr. Wildfire's ideas in the foot so that it's dead on arrival when you go to meet with him. And that's unfortunate because you're taking out an option before you even use the knowledge of the person who could provide you the answers to the questions that this business using a shipping container would have. And so you have a man with knowledge, you have a business willing to put in the effort to do it. Why then are you saying no to joining those two things together and figuring that all out? That math, those puzzle pieces fit together and made sense in my brain. So that was reason number one. Reason number two is because of Councilman Baumgartner's prepared statement. In it, she mentions ruining the aesthetic of Boardman. And that phrase caught in my mind because I've heard that from just the news and TV shows where people who are wealthier and have more to do come into low income areas and gentrify them and kick the low income population that originally created those well-knit communities that they have out of those communities because they wanted luxury, high class, sort of affordable things. However, that's typically in inner city areas. Our gentrification that's happening here in town is suburbia aesthetic, if we have to choose an aesthetic on how to label Boardman, because you guys brought up the aesthetic of Boardman. And so Tidewater and Portview Apartments and any of those new houses that are over behind the elementary schools, those are part of this gentrification aesthetic. And I, as somebody who has been very open about my financial struggles living here in Boardman, I'm flabbergasted that you want to protect the aesthetic of Boardman when that aesthetic is causing low-income people to have to move, and we are losing valuable workers for that reason. Second, and then part B to Ms. Baumgartner's prepared statement, I find it very interesting that she did not disclose that she also runs a drive-through activities business, which is the type of business that you guys discussed last month or in April for the shipping container thing. Obviously the business wasn't named, and that's why I'm just saying it's a drive-through activity business, because that's what was in the meeting notes, was stated in the meeting. So that was just interesting. And then the other thing about aesthetics, it's wild because Carla McLean said that if you guys were to approve those things, the shipping containers would have to be painted and up to building codes, which go look at Hermiston's building codes. They have shipping containers as drive-through activity businesses in Hermiston. I was literally there last week and took a picture of one. So it's being done in our state already. Take the man who has the knowledge and offering to give you that knowledge and this business that you might want to come into Boardman, regardless of what kind of building they're in, and put those two things together and help solve the housing issues in Boardman and helping our city grow, which many of you, again, have run on as your platforms for voting. And so in November, when 4 of you are up for re-election, I may or may not be voting for you based on this last 2 months of wishy-washy, will they, won't they sort of deal. So that is to say, I hope you reconsider the shipping container issue and this shipping container conversation, because it will help our city. Thank you and good night.
Thanks, Mr. Buss. Is there anybody else that would like to have public comment?
I would, so.
So I need you to, if you would. Yeah. Please.
Revisiting the conversation, of shipping containers. We are an existing business.
No,
Nope, right here.
Por favor, please. Yeah. Thanks.
So we're an existing business, as you guys know, a drive-through. We have been looking at ways to expand, ways to grow within the city, because obviously it's growing even just in the last 2 years. One of our ideas was to use a shipping container, which I have been in contacts with Glenn, with Carla, hey, you know, how can we do this? They're like, okay, there's not too much about it. I will bring it up to city council and see what they have to say. I was a little disappointed with, what you guys, talked about last month. Just because as, Mr. Fuss mentioned, it seemed like that decision was shut down. I know there was a lot of questions in regards to the topic, which I'm completely open. I'm actually gonna be presenting next month, to try to get you guys to reconsider, that decision.
So I have a comment because I get to say something, if I want. I do believe that we had a lot of questions.
Yes.
And I do believe that is the reason why we're hesitant to do that.
Okay.
And so, in all fairness, I think, we need to be patient on how we do this with more information from the person or the business that would like to do this. So whether it's right or wrong, I think it's your responsibility, I don't like you or your, but it's the responsibility of the business to sell it to us.
Yes, yes.
And
that's
that,
the intent.
and I think if you do that, I think that would really help us understand the avenue that we want to go. The idea that we're not wanting to do anything regarding that is false.
Yeah, I know you guys had mentioned that you guys were trying to kind of do away with shipping containers, like because there are a few within, city limits, like, hey, if they are there, let us know because we want them taken care of. So I know they're out there now. Obviously, nothing has been done about them. So it's like, oh, okay, we can't move forward, but they're still in town right now, you know? So it's like, oh.
So I would encourage you to work with Carla and Mr. Hammond and Glenn and let your vision be known to us to help us understand the vision that you want to have so that we can make a better decision. Because right now, there is no shipping container, I guess, really rules or regulations as far as what we're trying to do, and we're trying to limit that, but at the same time, we have other things that we want to do, as Mr. Fuss so eloquently let us know about Mr. Wildfire, because we're trying to do that. But just keep working with us.
Absolutely,
Is what
yeah.
I would encourage you to be able to, so that we can have a good idea of what your vision is.
Absolutely, and like I mentioned, I will be presenting at next month's meeting, because I've been in contact with Glenn and Carla, just to make sure everything is nice and clear for you guys.
Thank you,
Thank
I
you.
appreciate that. Is there any other individuals that would like to have public comment? All right, so our next,
Mr. Mayor,
yes,
could you, I would just like to make one comment back to Stephen Fuss, if that's okay. Just in regard to the Mr. Wildfire's options, it was more than just shipping containers. He gave us multiple options for affordable housing.
Right.
That was all.
Yes, he did. He did. But because you brought up shipping containers last month, that was the one I focused on.
What, can I say anything? Am I allowed?
do you want to?
Well, I just want to be clear that when we were discussing this, it was mostly had to do with residential areas versus commercial. And we did, in my opinion, kind of distinguish the two, the difference between the two. That I think for the most part, most people were against them in a residential setting versus commercial, which is what Yvonne is talking about. And then when the topic came up, we weren't really, and not that I'm blaming anybody, but it wasn't very clear what the business was, who was asking or anything like that. So don't feel like we are singling anybody out, because you coming up here, that's news to me that you were the one asking for that. And I'm not saying that that's in your favor. I'm just saying there was some information that was left out that we were not clear about, so. Anyways, I could go on about other stuff, but I won't.
Because our debate, a lot of our discussion was about, I know we don't normally talk about, public comment, but a lot of the discussion happened to be residential versus commercial.
Yes.
So again, keep the lines open, keep working. The answer is not no, we're just on certain things that we would like to have more information on. Well, it's no for commercial, it's no for containers, didn't we vote no?
I think it was for
No for containers.
residential
storage
that was the
Yeah.
thing, it was
That's what it
clarification
wasn't
between
living
residential
units,
and
it was
commercial.
And I wanted to clarify my no.
Yes.
To make sure that
So,
I was saying the right no. All right, thank you.
So when does Mr. Wildfire come back?
You can try to get a hold of them.
Oh,
You can call
and what would, oh, right.
them. No, I think to be honest with you, Mr. Wildfire wants to know what our vision is as far as, what we want to have our community. The biggest thing was lot sizes. You know, and affordable, because there's a lot of people who do not want, or who choose not to have large yards. So is there, I guess when I was talking to him, it was about, are we able to have limited green space and living space? You know, have a swap for both. And I think he's looking for that vision of what we would like to have our city look like. And if we do want to go that way, where would it be? You know, do we create a subdivision of, you know, smaller lot sizes for those individuals who want to build or start a starter home and build up? To be able to get it through affordable housing and use that as a stepping stone instead of our affordable housing at 350,000 plus. Which that is not a starter home for me. It's not even an ending home. So I think if you would like to call him, he would talk to you. So he would also probably share his vision of what he would like to do as well. So.
Okay.
So the reports only, did we have those? We had those in our packets, correct? So are there any questions about the Boardman Park and Recreation District report? And or the Boardman Chamber BCBA report? Because if they're not, you just go into our, straight into our police report. All right, Chief, welcome back.
yes.
Well, thank you. I was just gonna say, it's good to be back. I appreciate the council's support, city manager, but ultimately my agency support for getting us through this last, last several months. So, they've stepped up and did a really good job. So thank you for your patience. Feel good. As you can see, you've got the month ending report for April, and we've kind of changed the way that we're doing our reports. So you're still getting a 30-day report. Basically, it's not from the 1st to the 30th. It's going to be from the 23rd to the 22nd of each month. So you're still getting that 30 days. It's just a little different. So these numbers are going to be a little different. But you can see, April was another busy month. DUIs are still a huge issue. I think, you understood that the car that was totaled, the officer was on the DUI stop and had somebody arrested when another DUI hit his car. So, huge issue. We're still focusing a lot of resources on that. Hopefully we're able to address some of those issues. So, we Captain Dieter and myself attended, and the city manager attended Officer Stutzman's graduation at the academy. We're happy to have him back. He did a great job. He'll start his FTO process, which takes several months, but it's good to have him back. Once he's completed, knock on wood, we should be fully staffed. Hopefully we can keep them all. It's hard to keep good officers, so. Sadly to say, yesterday, we laid to rest one of our former officers who served the city of Boardman for 14 years. He had a little over 30 years of law enforcement service. Officer Price, he died unexpectedly. It was a good service, well attended, and a lot of comments about George and his commitment to the community. So he survived by his mother and his brother, and they were both in attendance and appreciated our support for George. So aside from that, we're still trying to get our cars back in order. We've been using the city staff car. We've been using whatever we can get to get by. So hopefully within the next few weeks, we will have the last 2 cars that are being put together in Salem back here. So we'll be in better shape, but we still have to replace the one that was totaled. And then we working on the new budget. So vehicles are a challenge right now. Any questions from the council? Again, thank you for your support. Not planning to do this anytime soon, so thank you.
Welcome back.
Yes.
Thank you. Building department report.
You guys have my report? Do you have any questions? Pretty steady.
When's the mural gonna be in?
Very good question.
I've just been anxious to see it.
I know, we're at 99.5% done back there.
Oh.
The mural, we're having a hard time finding somebody who has that skill. So.
How big is it?
It goes across the south wall of the entrance area and the waiting area.
I wonder if you could reach out to Julie Geesey again. I know she lives in Idaho now, but she lived here forever and she did the one at the library, I believe.
No. Yes.
One of them did the library and then,
She did the one at the service station.
okay, or service station, that's what I'm thinking.
This one's mine, right?
Yeah.
You know, talk to somebody at the Sage Center. Maybe there's somebody that's been there long enough to know. When we did the Sage Center,
We have it in place.
you have somebody that they just need to get here.
Yeah,
Okay.
it is the scheduler.
Oh.
It's the contractor hires them.
Oh, okay.
So we are about 99% done back there. Wallpaper, the graphics. Some minor stuff. The blinds don't always work right. The lights don't always turn on and off like they're supposed to. But just about done.
Any questions? All right, thanks, bud. Public Works.
Well, I wanna know, what happened to, is Gillum County, I don't see it on your list. Am I missing it, or did I just not see it?
Oh, you're right. That's absolutely don't see it. This is only for Morrow County. We can add Gillum, absolutely.
Well, I just thought it normally was on there,
It is usually at the.
Is
bottom, I
it?
think.
Yeah, I think it got cut. It might have got cut.
Probably got cut.
like that other
Because
sentence.
it's not
Yeah.
landscape.
It's with that other sentence, right?
I don't create these, so I'll speak with somebody. Sorry, take your time.
Yeah, mark yourself out. All right, Public Works.
Do you have any questions?
Looks like this is the install of the new meters, so that's moving forward.
Yeah, no, I quite like, it was a little slow last month, but yes.
How much further you got?
Oh, we have several hundred.
Several hundred. When do you anticipate that'll be done?
I would thought we've been done by now, so. We will hopefully be get them done before it's really hot and nobody wants to go out. You got that work?
Do they have a choice?
No. Just depends on what comes up.
They've been doing a lot of the moving furniture at City Hall.
Yeah.
Everybody out of the office, one back in the office, and one to the left, bring it back to the right. There's a mad rush today to make this room look like this.
Yeah.
So the carpet was installed last night,
It smells like it.
so
I thought that too.
everything had to be put back together.
We should have smelled it yesterday.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll go on to, let's see. City manager report.
Yes, so I will start off by introducing our new code compliance and animal control officer, Orida Campo. You want to stand up?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm not gonna ask her to speak. I will give her just some introductions. So she's lived in the area for about 30 years. She is a Morrow County graduate. She likes the fishing and traveling, she got really excited about the traveling. And then when it comes to this position, it's all about just very excited to get out into the community, being involved, things like that. So. Anything you want to add?
No, I think you covered it.
Thank you.
Well, welcome, and good luck.
Thank you.
And then to go along with that, I mean, honestly, it has been just crazy lately and I'm tired because I just get a little emotional.
I told you.
So, but on the public work guys, I mean, everything that is here is because they just go above and beyond. It's just pretty cool. So just very appreciative, and it may not be a big deal to you, but I love the way this looks in here. I mean, the cameras, all that, we literally got the wires installed so we could do the power within the dais. That little cord almost threw us off because it threw the internet off. But we have 2 cords we'll get rid of, but again, pictures being hung, I mean, like everything has been just
Oh, yeah.
a lot of,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so just a ton of effort
Too low.
to make it look so good. The next thing is, so H2 OEO, again, you have that in your packet. They're asking for a letter of support. If you agree to it, Amanda can sign that out. In the packet, it was shared what they stand for. It basically comes to the fact that we, as the city of Boardman, support clean drinking water. And that's simply what they're asking for. So if you are in agreement with that.
That would probably be a no-brainer. That would need to support that. That would be a support.
Yep.
So we don't need to make a motion or anything.
We'll sign the document. The other thing is so our next charter is May 22nd. There are 3 concepts. If you go back within the document that's in my report, section 12, this is talking about, it was brought up on page 131 within your packet. Do we want to have something about not serving on the port as well as the same time as the city, or on the county as well as the same time as the city? That was mentioned and was asked to have a discussion. But we have absolute latitude that you literally want to have, hey, if you are on city council, you cannot serve on the port commission, or you cannot serve in the county, that we can write that in there, and it would go in that section 12.
Yeah, because I brought that up, making sure that we wanted to at least have that discussion to be able to, because those are 3 highly influential positions, and I wanted to bring that to our charter to discuss, to see how we wanted to address that, because that is the ethics committee does not say that it is a violation. It's not ethically wrong. But I wanted to bring it, maybe we didn't want to have something like that in our. So
Would
we're
it,
gonna be,
would it
Yes,
affect
Rick.
would it affect other elected positions?
no, I
Like
was bracing.
McCurd or, I don't know.
Those three, the port and the county, because those are two highly influential. I mean, if we wanted to add something else, I didn't think we should, but, that's where I was going with that. Cause and I'll just say it right now, I don't think it's right that, I run the Port Commission and win and be on the city council at the same time. I don't think it's probably right. And so I wanted to have that discussion to see what the flavor of the council was. That's all I wanted to do with that.
I'm in 100% agreement
I
with
agree.
that.
So, that's why I put that discussion. So when we meet for our charter, we'll have that discussion. Or did you want to add it?
And I can, so the 22nd is simply going out to the community. I can put it in there. We don't have to have this ready until August, so I will again present.
Oh, I see what you're saying. You're just trying to add, if we had, so what do we have consensus that we'd like to add that in there? You didn't say anything.
Edward, you have to leave.
Well, I'm thinking, if those are elected positions, I agree with that. But as an employee, I have every right to run for some other position. I can be a county commissioner, if I have the time. Or if I wanted to be on the port commission as an employee. I can be on the park board as an employee.
And this is.
I don't think the charter addresses employees.
That's what I'm saying, as long as it
Which I think
doesn't.
it should.
Huh?
I think it should.
Well, they have their,
Yeah, and
they have their separate,
Yeah, and
so, cause the charter is for us.
Other boards have
so,
bylaws.
so
Yeah.
let's decide, I see here that it says 5th meeting, community event, May 22nd. And so is our budget meeting the 21st, and then the next night is this meeting?
Correct.
Okay.
And again, no one, I mean, it's open if you would like to come, but it is more of a listening, gathering session on the 22nd. Okay, so I can make that update. The next one is on page 137, section 24, daisy chain. The daisy chain, and I'm just making sure that is the wording that you would like to see.
Say 137.
Page 137 within that, yep.
So Brenda? Hey, did I answer your question about the other, rep for other elected positions? Did I answer your question?
Yes, it's just that I've served on the library board like 3 terms and it's hard to fill those positions, like the library board. Not a lot of people running for that spot, so.
It wasn't gonna be anything that would affect that. It was just those 3 positions.
I just wanted, what I didn't want to do is like be a, hey, you gotta be quiet. To be a hang up in it. But I do know that I don't do any business for the library that impacts the city, I don't think, so.
Yeah, the new language would not affect something like that.
Okay.
It's specifically stating Port of Morrow, City of Boardman, and the
Morrow County.
Morrow County Commissioner.
And I'm sorry, that's number 8 on page 137. So number 8 on page 137, section 24.
In the yellow.
In the yellow. So that was the direction I was given when we talked worst case scenario, everyone leaves, there's one person left. If that wording sounds.
Okay, take your water.
Yeah.
That's okay. Okay, and then the last one that was brought up is on page 139, section 29. And this is setting the level of misdemeanor, and I was told, yes, we can set the level of misdemeanor to whatever you like. Again, in the yellow. So this would cause a vacancy. This is not necessarily to say someone couldn't run, but this is to cause a vacancy, correct, Amanda?
But it doesn't have a level of misdemeanor.
Correct, so if you wanted to say, hey, level A, level B, a C.
Well, I'm not in favor of just having a misdemeanor. I'm not in favor of that language.
Oh, okay, so I know we didn't necessarily leave on that, so.
I don't even want misdemeanor in it.
Right. So, okay, so you're talking,
That's what I'm saying. If you,
oh, okay.
I
So
would-
felony or not even that?
oh, I can deal with felony.
Okay, so
If I get
remove,
convicted of a felony while I'm on the council,
okay,
that should probably dismiss me. I think that's pretty grave. Wouldn't you say?
so
A felony?
conviction of a felony crime, correct?
Is that, I just think, a felony, as far as, I mean, I don't know the levels of felony.
If you're asking, I would consider the severity of a class A misdemeanor, as well. I mean, so I think you need to look at the severity of the crime.
That's why, I think that's why we brought up misdemeanor, because there are differences in class A or whatever.
Well, then maybe we need to take a look at class A, B, and C.
And find out what the status, what the crime level of the crime is.
I think that would be important.
And I can get some information out. Again, we have complete latitude of what we can say within there. So, yep.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
Mr. Mayor, my granddaughter's been very patient, but, we're out of compliance, so I have to go. Can I be excused?
you may be excused. We're about 5 minutes away probably, but you may be excused.
Thank you. Have a good
You
night.
bet. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so I'll get some information about level and send that out.
So it might be a good idea to define just, rather than just say a class C misdemeanor, specific, what you would tolerate and what you wouldn't tolerate, and felony level crimes. That way you can be a little more precise, because what about, the U misdemeanor now? It has to do with the controlled substances. I mean, to get all the different misdemeanors that are out there is gonna be tough, but I don't think you wanna limit somebody's service based on all class A misdemeanors. I mean, people make mistakes and they can change their lives. Same with felons. So I think you as a council probably wanna know, if you've got a person crime, you probably don't want that person on your council. But if you have a society crime, that's a whole different issue. So,
And this is mainly like, you're on it, you get this level, then you get removed, correct? Yeah.
I definitely would like to have more conversation on number 5, because, the language says, upon declaration by the council after the incumbents either convicted of a misdemeanor or felony. Does that mean someone who has a felony never? Is that what that's saying?
No, that's just what causes a vacancy.
We're talking about if you're on the council already,
Correct.
you can be removed. due to
Correct.
that.
This is not.
I don't think it has anything to do with if
Okay,
somebody
then I-
runs.
Yeah,
Okay.
Is there some way that when you put it in there, or if you put it in there, you could just clarify that it'll be upon review of? You know, cause like you mentioned, it'd be something where you would have to look at it and kind of look at the type of misdemeanor and have that discussion and review it, whether or not to remove that person from the board or from the council.
I think that would.
Because you said it was a council decision.
it's a council decision, but I would caution you that you need to have some standard criteria.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
Because council to council, it can change.
Correct.
And so one councils can say, well, this isn't bad enough, so we'll let you stay on, but the next council may say, oh, no. So you probably want some set criteria.
And I can send some stuff back. Okay, the next one is right there. I think we've had the discussion. That is the mission statement. Again, all of the input that you shared with me was put into this in some sort.
What number is that?
Number 6 on, sorry, city manager report.
Oh.
You're done with the charter.
Sorry, done with the charter. Apologies. So, right there in the blue, the input that I was given was from Counselor Prophet, and it's like towards the betterment of, so I added that. My hope is that that is sufficient for a mission. Again, I look at this and it's actionable. This is what we stand for. This is what we do.
I like it.
To get where we stand.
I think we need to, put on the wall.
We certainly could.
However you want, not just saying paint it or whatever, but you can get
A vinyl or something.
something nice to be able to.
Yeah.
That would be a reminder that is, so, yeah, so somebody say, hey, I don't think you're doing that.
Pendleton has theirs in the front of the.
Ooh.
Yeah, I could, something like that, I think it needs to be somewhere where people can see that that's what we're trying to stand for, and,
It doesn't remind us, but.
well, it reminds us every time we walk in, I mean, yeah.
I like that. Yep.
I think that would be really good for, as a good reminder, that is what we're trying to do every day.
I agree. And again, those are your words, just put together very nice.
You can skip 7.
Okay, so all this is in your packet, there is a very, very extremely rough draft of what something that would allow chickens in the city, and all I'm asking.
I was wondering what that would say.
And all I'm asking is, do we want to move forward with the possibility of having chickens that I can go out and again, get more specific language, but if it's like dying here, then I won't waste the time, but I'm just seeing if. What your thoughts
I think
are.
we should at least look into it and then decide from there. I mean, we need to do our due diligence and make sure that.
I say no, sorry, I'm not a chicken guy.
That's
I'm
fine.
just giving you a bad time, but
I think we should at least research it.
Okay.
Other area cities are doing it. We just need to decide what's in the best interest, me and my wife have had this discussion and she's obviously for it, but I was like, here's the cons to it too, so we need to really look and see. What's good and bad with that.
No, we have a new code of compliance and animal control officer. That'll be a great opportunity for them to learn about chickens and.
I still think it's the wrong way that we go. I mean, you would like a chicken. Morrow County has lots of property that you can buy
It's.
with farming rights.
It's just a draft, and it was brought up that like financially, the day and age we are, it could be a benefit to citizens to have their own eggs. That was a thought. Which could then.
I nearly made him faint the other day.
Why, you bought a chicken?
When he said, what do you think about chickens? I said, I think it's a good idea. I said, when eggs are $6 and $8 a dozen over here at the grocery store, I think I've got to change my idea about chickens. And he's still kind of going,
Well, and Oregon is one of the states that, I think they just changed the law that said that all the eggs that are sold commercially have to be free range, and that's part of the reason why.
cage.
The price,
Cage
yeah,
free.
you have to be cage free,
Yeah.
and so that's why the prices have gone up, because it costs more to do that.
And it just seems to me like we are, as a society, when I'm talking about low-income housing and people living on the streets, and now we say that eggs are worth $8 a dozen. There's something the matter with our
Milk's
society.
getting expensive.
Yes, it is.
Well,
Since
it
we have
used to
cows.
be
I have
eggs,
a cow in my backyard.
yeah,
Milker,
and,
being facetious, I'm sorry.
and I hope I don't
Yeah.
have neighbors with eggs. Well, if they don't have a rooster, I don't care, they can have
Exactly.
chickens.
100%, I thought.
Yeah.
Okay, and the last thing is, just with this new system that we have, it's on number 8. It's amazing We all have devices. You can go click directly to it. It will pull up all the information that you need. If anything needs to be adjusted, as long as you don't print it, it is very easily done, user-friendly. If you print it, it changes everything and it's all misnumbered. So I am requesting that we do go paperless. There, this last packet, we did, it's 144.
It was 148 pages
Times
times 12,
12.
So you're looking at.
3 reams of
Yeah, I was gonna
paper
say 3
every
reams.
month.
Yep.
It's renewable, right? Recycle.
Would that include, the, agenda?
I do like the printed agenda, because
I think,
like you, I like to have it here so I can follow along, but still follow
Yeah.
there too.
Oh, so
Just
you're
the
saying that
page.
one
The
single
agenda.
sheet.
Yeah,
Oh.
the agenda.
Yeah.
I think it would be good for us to have some, also some, like if we have our motions, some supplemental every now and then.
Sure.
If there is going to be a public hearing, to have that supplemental, to be able to have that to be in a little trifold or whatever, that I could go with the agenda, or if not the packet on the device.
So the meat of it, yeah.
Yeah.
the meat of it. Cool. All right.
And if there is something that I need, I can always print it myself.
It just,
Specifically.
and it is very time consuming. Amanda has a lot of stuff that is asked of her by me.
apply the savings to the garbage fund. Just thinking ahead.
There you go. Thank you. That's all I have.
All right. We're at the end of our meeting time. Is there any council comment?
I really do want to comment on something, but I'll save it for a face-to-face conversation. That's all. Not with anybody here.
I didn't do it.
Yeah.
I was gonna make a report and then I forgot to. The Aaron Palmquist and I went to LeGrand to the small cities meeting. And it was really interesting, and I was reading in the Hermiston Herald again today about how communities are having a really struggle balancing their budgets. And I mean, like, you know, LeGrand and all of those, I mean, I was shocked. That was the biggest, that was the conversation. And they all agreed that it is quickly going in the wrong direction for most of these communities. That we just don't even begin to understand how fortunate we are to have a assessed value that's going up and not down. And there was, I was disappointed in the turnout, probably 5 or 6 of us, 7 towns. So that's, yeah. And I did something else too, but I can't even remember it.
Well, I appreciate those comments because I think most people need to hear from more people.
Yeah.
They need to hear from other people that they're hearing that out there, of how blessed we really are in this area.
And how much it's changed. I mean, there's several people on this council who's lived here most of their life and know what the town and the county looked like when we were young children, and so it's been good to see it change.
I remember the day I moved into my lot that I lived across from Andreessen's, and the way it's changed, the community's changed. And, you know, what we have and others don't have, we're very blessed. We really are. Any other council comments? No, the mayor's comments are, I probably should, when it gets late, I should be a little more serious, but that's about it. But the meeting is hereby adjourned.